We back on the good. All right.
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It reads, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Right there, right? One side telling them to speak in the ears of my people. I am not saying to speak in the ears of my people. It's very specific who this message is supposed to be. Speak down to my people, which are the Israelites. So from 19 and 20 today. Right? Because this message, this promise is only for a specific people. And that's what he's telling Ezra to do. He's saying, go down to the ears of my people. Right? Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Right? By definition, prophecy is something that is written for a time that's going to happen at a set date or a set time. Right? And right now we're prophesying the downfall of this Edomite kingdom and the rising of the Israelite kingdom. Right? It's going to be a transfer of ownership, a transfer of power that we're witnessing right now. The whole world, the majority of the world, doesn't even know what's happening. But if the Most High open your spiritual eyelid, you can see that there's a transfer of ownership happening right before your eyes. Right? Because when Israel rises and increases, something has to decrease. And that's the power of Esau. You can see the power of the Edomite kingdom waning. They don't have that same power, the same juice like they used to. Right? So we're living in a beautiful time. Also, the Bible says that it's a beautiful thing to see the eye and fall of your enemies now. Right? So
says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
Right. So these aren't our words. These aren't, something set down and makes no opinion. Right? These are things and prophecies that were revealed unto us. And the words that we speak are spiritually inspired. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, inspired. Right? These words that we speak are spiritually inspired and not our own words.
Which I will put in thy mouth. Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper.
That's why we have these scriptures, right? Prophets before time. They remove the Holy Spirit, like it says, to write down these scriptures, to write down these prophecies. They didn't understand all the prophecies, and as they were writing it down, that was for the future prophets to understand, which those as prophets are. Because there is a thing of reincarnation, right?
Yeah, to back you up. And they got visions too, along with the stuff that wrote down. Like Ezra. And like you just mentioned, Ezra said the same thing you just mentioned, which was through reincarnation. He had those visions. He said afterwards, woe is me, woe is me. Who was able to deliver me from those days, on those times of prophesied, etc. Meaning that he knew he was going to come back in the reincarnation in the end times, right? And it was so dreadful, the vision. That's why he said, woe is me, meaning that anybody who lived in those times is going to be, how should I say, very dreadful, very sorrowful. So it's like, who would want to live in that time, man? Who would want to live in those times and live through that destruction, that terrifying? So, woe is me, who should be delivered in those times? So it just points out that the prophets, the holy prophets, the men of the Lord, even when they got the visions of the latter days, there were trouble in their mind. They say, damn, who's going to deliver me in those times? And again, I brought it up because it was reincarnation. Right? He said that because he knew he was going to be there in the latter days when the Lord comes forth, saves the elect, and brings forth the kingdom. So it says, they were bruised with fear. That's what it did. Second class. Who should deliver me in those days is none other than the deliverer himself. All right, that's his real name, right? That's what it really means. In the ancient Hebrew, which is called the Lashon Kodash, all right? It's Paleo Hebrew, so you understand. That means holy language, or the holy tongue. Okay, that's what that's the original language of the world. That's the language of the past on the Hebrews, right? Which Hebrew means from the past or across, all right? And that's the language, all right? If you were to find out how does the Most High talk? What language does he speak? Well, he speaks in the Lashon Kodash, right? The Most High's name is Yahweh, and his son's name, which Yahweh means Heavenly Father, is he to be, all right? Or I am. And that's an omnipotent statement, or omnipresent statement, or name statement. Vibration he is. He's everywhere, he's everything. Okay? And his son is Yahweh Shai, which is, he is the deliverer. Okay? Or excuse me, he the deliverer, to be exact. Right? So he the deliverer is going to deliver us in those times. And especially Ezra. He's a man of the Lord.
That's
back in second Ezra, it says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
So that's basically goes into that unbelief, right?
SpongeBob they just saw, Akira, show they just saw yesterday, right?
Right, but that, according to the scriptures, is what fear not the incredulity, right? Their imaginations, right? Because I faith, I believe all these promises that are going to take place, they go to the most High telling them, fear not their unbelief. Because it's like incredulity means unbelief. Right? So you got a lot of people, the majority of them don't believe in the Bible, don't believe in the Bible. See? So that's just something that we have to accept. That the majority of our people are not going to get Christ. This has to be fear not their unbelief. Right?
It says, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
There you go. It says, all them faithful die in their unfaithfulness. Right? Right? Synonym, another word to be used for unfaithful is belief. Right? So just because somebody doesn't believe, right? Because somebody doesn't believe, then that's not, it's going to do what? It says, they shall die in their unbelief, or die in their unfaithfulness. Right? And that's something that's going to happen. Once again, the majority of this, because they don't believe in their unfaithfulness, the Most High is going to execute them. He did it plenty of times. Look at the last big thing that the Most High did. One of them was, not the last one. One of the big things he did was the flood. He only saved 8 souls, man. Out of the whole world, right? Only 8 souls.
Yeah, that's how they add. I still have it saved on my list on YouTube. And I came across something a few months ago, and I saved it for a future show. It basically was talking about the times of Noah, the days of Noah, and that basically in the time of Noah, there could have been numbered a trillion people on Earth, over a trillion people on Earth. And it made sense because really the beginning of the video was going into basically a man would have more than one woman, more than one wife. So with that understanding, you can see how, not only that, you can see how there can be so many people on Earth. Another point of the video was saying that men would see their great grandchildren. They would see 4 generations of their life, of their posterity. So they would live long, as you know, in the days of Noah. So I was like blown away by that, man, and it makes sense because if you have 8 women, 8 wives, you have children, and they have children, then they get married, and they have children. Basically, what's going into like one man, one family, or one man can create a whole village. One man can create a whole, am I saying another word, village, or a small nation, a small society. So that's what it was back then. Really, if you think about the coat of arms or having that last name, there's another word for it. I think coat of arms, but your legacy, right? Legacy amongst men were bigger because every man basically had nations under them. So that was really mind blowing, but it makes sense. You know, so I'm only bringing it up. Back to what you said, that he only saved 8 souls. You know, and back then, you know, I believe personally, yeah, that makes sense. There could have been over 2 trillion people on Earth. You know, there's many scriptures talk about the Earth was real big at one point. We should wax small of an age, or lose statue of age. I mean, if we get small in stature, and weaker in age. There's many stuff on, you won't see it on mainstream news, but like on Google, on TikTok, things of that nature. I've been seeing a lot of my algorithms has been like basically mountains. They say it could have been former trees, you know, with a certain top cut off. Like major mountains could have been former trees, or certain mountain peaks could have been formerly trees. And huge, we're talking about huge trees. And it makes sense, and they look like trees, like former trees. So, you know, a bigger world, all right, with taller people, we always go into that. Even the time of King David was, Goliath was estimated to be, you have to search for the 17 feet tall. Men back then, the average was like 10, 11 feet. It was said that King David's crown weighed 70 pounds. Okay? And that solves a lot of riddles, man, because there's no way you could look at the obelisk, right? Am I saying right, in Egypt? Not the obelisk. The pyramids in Egypt, right? That's a major mystery of how those blocks and how it was constructed together. There's certain types of technology they could use. But overall, you know, men were bigger and stronger back then. All right. So anyway, that's the point to say that there were many people, could have been estimated trillions of people on Earth, and you know, like you just said, but only saved 8 souls out of that world. When the scriptures say, the Lord said Himself in Matthew, the 24th chapter, which is a prophetic chapter, He said that we are in the days of Noah. All right, so these days are no different from the times of Noah. We are in the days of Noah, out of the Lord's mouth. All right? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, because if you look at there's roughly 9 billion people on Earth, there's probably more, because that's just the estimate, what's another word? The census. You know, they can't count everybody, right? But if you, matter of fact, look up real quick the population in 1950, right? Wasn't it, you know, we're about to find out. To go from what the population, or even in the beginning of 1900s, you know, whatever you think. Look at the population now, and all these spirits are back here on Earth to receive that judgment.
Overview says after the year 1900, the total world population was about 1.6 billion people. The United States, the official census, counted 76,212,168 residents in 1990.
In 1900. Yeah. That's amazing, because so the population in the 1900 was 17 million.
1.6 billion.
No, America.
For America, 76 million.
6
212,000.
What to say is 18 million, 18 million people in America. And now look how many people. It's 330 million. That's amazing. Might be more. We'll say 330 million people out in America. And that's in the span of what? Less than 150 years? That's less than 150 years. Right, so the Lord, you know, spiritual about reincarnation, all these spirits are back here, populating the earth and the whole world for that great judgment. You know, you went from 76 million people here in America at the beginning of the 1900s, 20th century, to now here in 2026, we got roughly around 330 million people here in Babylon the Great, America. Shows you the devastation that's here to come.
1950, halfway through the decade, the 1900s, the 20th century, the global population has grown to roughly 2.5 billion.
So 50 years, 1 billion. And then probably it grew a lot after that, tremendously, because I think after World War II is when the baby boom era. So after the 50s, they really skyrocketed.
So, Romans 3 and 3 to verse 4, it says, "For what if some do not believe, so that unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Yahweh forbid." It says, "Yeah, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sin, and mightest overcome without the judge." Yeah, so back to what y'all were going to earlier, they, two-thirds of Jacob, unbelieving spirit, you know, we don't care, right? We don't care if you believe. It's only for the remnant. It's only for the elect. We get that. It says that the wise should understand, should not understand. You know, the election never taken. The rest was learned. Right? So either way, these prophecies are going to come to pass whether we believe or not. And the words that were spoken, people over a second, 15 minutes. These words represent that's how we set up. There's nothing to do. It's the will of God. It's not. That's how we show our faith. There's no other way to do it.
Belief is synonymous with action. Believe in something, which means to have faith, right? You're going to show forth that you can do it. For the most part, you can apply to anything. Working out, do, I don't know, way to get to work. I don't know. Anyway, you apply that to anything. Yeah.
That took a lot of work.
That's a good example. If you believe in yourself, if people don't believe in you, you ain't gonna be shit. You ain't gonna find it. But if you believe in yourself and your abilities, and you wind up being a manager, it doesn't work out. You're proving everybody wrong. Believe in yourself.
That's what it takes. That's okay. So here people
I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you were saying Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, they believe in themselves, but they put forth the work. Physically, but it all boils down to work. They show forth because they believe in themselves, they just look in the mirror and stand there. They look for the work that they do. It's like the prophets. Now, we follow, we just don't see to believe. We do put forth the work to confirm our belief. And really, we're doing it we're looking like fools. We're doing it for the fool's sake. For the foolishness of preaching. You know, the Lord don't need this for us to be out here. We're really doing it to look like fools. Show our dedication. No matter what happens out here, we're going to do the work. No matter what you say, we're going to do the work. So it's not about having 1,000 videos a day or doing this and that. And, you believe, you're going to do it. You can be sincere, whatever the portion the Lord gave you. You got to be sincere. You got to put forth effort. Only the Lord knows what you are. But it doesn't mean you don't do anything as well either. It's like Ezra's actually got the vision of that temple. All right, in the latter days. These are going to be very terrifying times. There's been reports of Indiana, Gary, Indiana. Isn't that where Michael Jackson was from? Gary, Indiana, blackout for 10 days. Man. I mean, actually probably going on 11, 12 days. Going through no power or blackout for 2 days is extremely stressful. It's tough. You know, that's so anyway. You understand that basically, you know, blackout. That's just part of the tough, man. And, you know, I've been doing many shows on this going back since 2020. Since the lockdown, there's been people saying, I'm trying to use the word, but there's been people saying that, or estimating, that's not a good word, to say that even going back since 2020, that there's going to be a, 18-month blackout. Or excuse me, predictions, that's the word. There's been predictions going, since the lockdown, that there's going to be a year blackout, 6-month blackout, 18-month blackout, that the elites have planned for America. Has always been underground news. Now the latest in Gary, Indiana, they're saying that's a test run for what's been around the whole nation. We talked about that up here many times. The Lord did commit a blackout in Egypt. Okay, a true blackout. Yeah, the first, that's one of the plagues that the Lord did on Egypt through the hand of Moses. Okay, it was so bad. You light fire, you can't even see the fire. It's a black hole, man. Big hole. And then it was only where on a certain section. Because people outside the region, whether it be a few miles out, they didn't have no. It was a sunny day. So that shows it wasn't the whole world, it was just that section of Egypt. That's more amazing.
He was good too. He got the charity. So I said, I'm saying,
back in the second Ezra 15 and 3, it says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world." Spirit, we just mentioned it. And you see that again, right there, starting up it is here. But now you get another version of the plagues replicating the actual plagues of darkness right there in Gary, Indiana. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Exactly.
For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hopeful works are fulfilled."
So he said, I will bring plagues. So inside the thing about that, he said, I will bring plagues upon the world. What was that?
behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
He said, sword, famine, death, and destruction. But if you understand sword, he said, sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right, so that's what the Most High is. That's what the Most High is. Right, and so with the so that's what's coming. So if people don't believe that, it's coming inside what's being said. They're not their imaginations or their aka their unbelief. Because what I say, that's when it's coming. Best believe it's coming.
It says, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful words are fulfilled.
Right, so he said, their wickedness,
Their wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth.
right, it says, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Now, what happened last time? Wickedness exceedingly polluted the whole earth. He saved 8 souls. He flooded them. See? So nowadays it's no different. The Most High, see, he saw things that he's going to go away undone, untouched. But wickedness that he's pushed since his rulership. But little does he know, the Most High will only allow a certain amount of wickedness, and a certain amount of wickedness to just spread. He saw things just going to get it past that. But if you look at throughout history, the Most High will only allow a certain amount of wickedness. And today is no different. He saw under rulership pushing his wickedness a little bit. So it's important to note that he showed us going past some of the rulership was at the right?
This is Job 14 and 5. It says, seeing his days are determined.
Right, it says, seeing his days all the time. And we have to love this one. They have a certain time to do it.
And they actually calculated 250 years. And we're at the 250th year of America's establishment or existence. Government.
Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are repeated. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he could not pass.
So there's a certain amount of time that he still has to do. Right? And if you look at the prophecy, you can see that he's going to do it for is coming to an end. Right? This is the beginning.
Like I said, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are redeemed. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he could not pass.
Right? It says thou hast appointed time that he cannot pass. He still has not figured out a way to go past that bullshit. Guess what? The Most High already set in stone your duration of rule. And there's nothing you can do to surpass it. You know?
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 6. It says, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful words are fulfilled. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cries unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually."
It says the innocent and righteous soul. Right?
Yeah,
Right. Cries unto me. That's the righteous man. You know? That's all it is. What the righteous is whatever, like, you know. Once a person dies and transitions into the spirit world, what do? They continue to pray to the Most High to bring in the kingdom and to take down this world, right? Because once you pass away, once you cross over, you're in your right spirit, your right mind. You know you're in the right. See, you know who you say is, you know who the Most High is. And you're praying for the elect down here on earth. You're praying for the downfall of this front group. You're praying for the return of God. You're praying for the return of Yahushua, right? To reign on earth. Or you're praying for Yahushua's return is for this current kingdom of this current society to fall. See, so you're praying for Yahushua. So Yahushua said, Yahushua, man.
Just to back you up, you said you're praying for the Lord to bring the kingdom on earth. But it's actually in the Lord's Prayer. Literally. Okay? That's the main prayer of all prayers, the Lord's Prayer. It's basically asking the Lord to forgive us our sins, right? And to bring what is up, I say it verbatim. You know, just like it is in the heavens, bring it down here on earth. You know, because what the Lord's coming to do, He's coming to set the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be a replica of what's in the heavens. I mean, that's just mind-blowing to think about. I figured what last week what brother was talking about this. I said, man, that's beautiful. You know, so the Lord's bringing, He's going to make the earth just like the heavens, the spiritual realm. I mean, man. Okay? And yeah, it's big. It's just like total order. Number one. And the only way we're going to get there is that the Lord forgives us our sins, man. And that comes out by doing the work and acknowledging Him, His laws, His statutes, commandments, through His Son Yahushua. But so that's really, in essence, what we pray for. You know, all our prayers are vibration of the Lord's Prayer. You know? We come back to the Lord represents Him bringing kingdom. Not seeing a bunch of rockets around like we see today. A bunch of general religions that are they're not religions. They're idolatry. Okay, there's no such thing as religion, by the way, also. You know, you can run every day and do a mile, and, you know, you can run 3 times a week. That's you're doing that religiously. It's something that it's a habit that you do over and over again. You can do some harmony or something, you do that religiously, right? Who drinks and gets Christ and stuff. The only thing you should be doing religiously in spirit form is what the Lord gave His commandments to His people. Laws, statutes, commandments. That's what we should be doing every day in our lives. The good thing about this, the story of this good ending, is that the Lord's going to put these religious things we should be doing daily in our mind, right, in us. So we will be literally be doing it, right? Perfect. Yeah, literally.
So that's the goal.
says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. That's the elect.
Even two-thirds of us are righteous because all Israel considered the way righteous. Since in Israel was getting born, that's how we are considered righteous. It is when you go
All spirits, all the other nations, they're on the left side of the But the Israel, like you said, the spirit of an Israelite, the Hebrew Israelite, or the chosen, the Most High's people, they're going to heaven, and they're on the right side of the Heavenly Father. It's a very special place. That only the spirits of Israel, the right. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues, as before. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Yeah, didn't he take us now out of Egypt already? Right. That's not talking about Egypt at the time of Moses. We're talking about another Egypt. That's America. Again, look at the back of your Bible. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it.
Nobody's gonna. This place is gonna be contained out. The thing that's gonna be over here, foul spirits, desert creatures, and desert animals. Right? This is gonna be America is gonna be a monument to what will happen if we come against the Most High and His people.
Yeah, you got a whole landmass.
We got a whole land
Reminds you of that.
right? So at the whole time of slavery and the things about uprising, all they had to do was move up to the left, or to the west, and see the smoke burning. Right? Listen, no.
They'll have holograms to look at too to get a reminder.
And then you'll see original about 144,000. It's a thing out of nowhere. We're on the right side, right?
They that till the ground shall mourn, for the seed shall fail through the blasting in hell, and with the fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
So it's jumping around a little bit, right? Now it's going into a sedition among men. It's going to a sedition, and it's like an uprising from one people to another. Yeah, against each other. Right? So it can be physical uprising, or it can be actual wars. We see that happening today. That's what's happening. That's throughout the whole earth. Yeah, wars is happening.
There's more to come. A man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able.
Yeah, it's going to be bad times. You're not going to have that freedom to just move around like it's going to be a problem. We saw a glimpse of that on that day. We see that too. Right? People really don't. Imagine a whole combination.
Outbreaks, civil war, economy crash.
F-24 and 21 to verse 22. It says, "But then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no more ever shall be." It's going to be very bad. See, it's simple. It's going to be bad. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no more ever shall be." It says, "And except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved."
That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. The Most High doesn't intervene. Nobody knows everybody's going to right? Right? But to deliver the elect. Right? Forgive the two things for their sins. Right? That's the whole thing they have to appease his anger towards Israel. Right? That shows you the importance of Yahushua's blood.
It says, "But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened."
But when the elect sin, those days shall be shortened.
14, verse 7 says, "For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. But whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's." It says, "For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself." All right, so yeah, basically you see what the Spirit saying to Paul here is that you can be an atheist, right? You may think you're living your own life, or, living my best life. What's that song? Right? Living your best life. All right? Or living my life like it's golden.
I was thinking
Stupid sayings just to make your depressed guys feel better while you're scarfing down and yeah, you know, while you're anyway, just say stuff to escape out of your measly lives. No amount of sayings can make you is gonna anyway, you live unto the Lord. Stop. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. But whether we live unto the Lord, and ultimate living, right? And really the truth is what? Believing in this word, believing in Yahweh Shai, who would have made you. Because as the Lord said, I am the way, I am the life. Right? No man coming unto me. No man coming unto the Father but by me. You know? But through me. So the only people, that's why it refers to, the America or Egypt as dead bodies. Revelation 11th chapter. Right? Those dead bodies, right? About to say it again? Yeah. 6 or something. So technically, if you don't believe in the Lord in truth, right? Which only to be technical, only a Hebrew Israelite, right, in the spirit can do that. Really by lineage, by bloodline, but ultimately through the spirit, right? If you don't believe in the name of Yahweh Bashima Shai, right, the name Yahweh Shai, you're dead. And that's the majority of the people here in America and the whole world, all right? So that means you're dead, you're spiritually dead. You know? That's just this number. What is it? That means out of there. Oh, yeah, well, okay.
This is Revelation 11:8.
Yeah, this is the living dead, basically. We're going to read that.
It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets. That's all that should be
Pretty much.
that should be a thumbnail. It says,
Why you showing it, read
it
it?
says, Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies shall lie.
Let me see if you got it.
Check that out.
Yeah, moving a little closer, man. Yeah, hold on, I got.
Revelation 11:8.
Yeah.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of
Yeah.
that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
yeah, Jake is going, man. It's a perfect example.
Right, so does it mean they're physically lying in the street? No, it's a metaphor meaning okay. It says it's a deep saying or a metaphor meaning that spiritually Israel is dead as a whole. Spiritually dead because they have not awakened to their heritage, which consists of them being Israelites and the Most High being who he is, Yahweh Shai being who he is. They have no idea of who they are, where they are, and where they're going. They're just completely spiritually dead, right? And then what's that? The prophets. See that without understanding.
The congregation is dead.
Right. Right. So Esau is like Israel. We saw Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as a whole. You are that that dead body that we just showed, man. Spirit's still dead, man. You have no idea what's going on. And two-thirds you have a refusal to believe. What's that in Isaiah? It says, won't even consider.
Yeah, you don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's his last experience.
That's his master's
Oh,
prayer.
yeah, Isaiah 1. It's not
People do not consider.
Right? And guess what? The Most High destroyed you for that. It was purposely done to Israel to not to be in that dead state because that was the curse once it's finished. Right? Right? It says, the Most High said, I will destroy you for lack of knowledge. Right? Are you yeah.
read that again.
Revelation 1:8. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city.
Yeah, and that great city is none other than America, man. All right, these are the deadest people because the knowledge is synonymous with life and death. One of my favorite examples to use of that statement I made is that when someone has Alzheimer's disease, all right, the latter end of someone who has Alzheimer's disease is that they're on life support. All right, right. The last stages before Alzheimer's really kicks. I mean, before you die of Alzheimer's, you don't know your own wife that you've been married for 4 years. You don't know your children that you raised and you birthed. Right? The key point, you don't know anything. You don't even know your name. You just wind up being basically a vegetable on life support, man. Then you pull the plug. Anyway, the point is, that's one of my favorite examples to use, that knowledge is life, because if you don't remember anything in your whole life, are you alive? Especially if you're on life support. Or even before then, you just don't know anything. You remembered all the things that were in your life. Okay? So, and like you brought out, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So Israel doesn't know about their life, which is really their history, their heritage. You don't know about your heritage, so you're dead. Yeah, like that guy in the street, man. Okay, and then I bring it up too because here in America, Americans don't know the key word, right? Don't know anything, all right? There are plenty of documentaries, plenty of series, right? Plenty of stats and papers and articles proving America is one of the most ignorant societies in the world. All right? Ignorant means not to know. One of the dumbest societies in the world, man. They don't know anything. They don't even know that, a lot of people in other countries, they know what's going around. Even, they don't, I'll say it like this, a lot of people in the world, they don't look at the world as a face value, or they're able to see things, they understand things under the scenes, They understand, a lot of people outside the nation, they know, or outside of America know that America is a product of the elites. They know that they're being psyoped. They know that they're one of the most ignorant people in the world as far as what runs government order and politics. A lot of things that you people think are conspiracies, the other nations know that's fact. All right? Go on. That's a better way to say it. There's a greater awareness of how things are running the world outside America. All right? just to back you up, that's the spirit. I just saw a video that was going viral this week about a teacher who's a Jake, right? He's a Jake, and that he was talking about his students who are seniors in high school, and he said that he cried. He was basically crying in the video and saying that these seniors, they don't know how to read. Like he put a basic I don't know if it was a phrase or some kind of curriculum or something on the word, and they had to put the words in, and they could have been, and he was giving them hints and helping them, and they still couldn't finish the riddle, whatever it was he was doing. You know, and he was basically crying to say what Generation Z, Generation. What's after? There's another one. Right? But this generation, man, like you were saying, they're grossly in the dark about a lot of things and basic things. We did a show years ago, back in like 2012, 2014. America's is like 34th or 30. I mean, that was back 15 years ago, man. On America's most uneducated nations in the world. I wonder what it is now. So that's just one aspect of you not knowing anything, and on the deeper level, you don't know the Most High in the Lord. Okay? So when you come into the Lord, Yahweh Shai, that's why we always say up here, in particular at this camp, we say that what? When you come back to Yahweh Shai, you're reenacting him coming back from the dead to life. When you come back to the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, you're reenacting him resurrected. Right? From that dead state to being alive again. So that's in the mind. If you come back to the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, guess what? You've been resurrected. So this is the true life, man. Yeah, yep, the breath of life. Yeah, Ezekiel 37th chapter. Yeah. Why do you think the scriptures say Psalms, which they abuse in the church and don't even know, apply it right? Let's go Psalms 23rd, in the valley of the shadow of death, the Lord is with me. That's talking about here, man. This is the valley of the shadow of death. And the valley is basically a low land between two higher lands. So America is known as a low land spiritually. All right, this place is low spiritually, man. Morally, yeah. You have something going on, I gotta send it to you, man. I was going away that lady, what's her name? Who killed the 3 kids? Strangled them? Lindsay something, right? The shocking thing about that whole thing, right? Of course, she killed her 3 kids and strangled them one by one with a jump rope, by the way, some cord, which is demonic and hard to listen to. But the crazy thing was coming out now. You have hundreds of people supporting her. Excuse me, women. That shit is crazy. So there's a lot of podcasts coming out, a lot of social media coming out saying, yo, now on a date, you're gonna have to ask, do you support Lindsay, whatever her name is? Yo, I was shocked. It just shows you, I may want to do something how demonic and devil, like demonic, basically these women are devils, man. I mean, there's no point even having a woman, man. Only for what, you know what, but other than that, most of these women are out, they're out their minds, man. And you got these women, Lindsay Clancy, devil, man. Yeah, she's evil, yeah. Lindsay Clancy, you got people, she has a GoFundMe account that raised over $1 million. And what, for what, mental illness. She's claiming mental illness in the defense of court. While Jake do the same thing, kill his children, whether it be a man, imagine if it be a black woman. She would be in front page of news, man. Excuse me, unalive. All right? She unalived with their children. Imagine if some so-called black or Hispanic did that, right? Unalive their children. They'll be on primetime news right now. And even the way they're bringing it out in the news is more sympathetic. And then I've been all these women are standing up for this. They're not even talking about the children that were killed. This place is truly demonic. I'm only bringing that up to show you how dark and demonic and out of their people's minds no knowledge these people have in America, man. This place is totally dead. Yeah, well, I guess we got with that part. Yeah, you
It's John 6 and 63. It says, it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life.
read that again.
John 6 and 63. It is the spirit that quickeneth.
It is the spirit that quickeneth. And you like a quick understanding, you get something right away. Well, for you to get this, the thing the quickest is really this truth should be quickened. Trying to understand the best way you can. That's why Habakkuk said, run at him that readeth. You know, because you want to get these prophecies as quick as you can to quickly get right with the Lord before the end comes. So out of anything you want to learn fast, you want to learn the scriptures. You want to learn the spirit of the Lord, which only an Israelite can. So it's the spirit of the Lord, the Holy Spirit, that quickeneth.
The flesh profiteth nothing.
The flesh profiteth nothing.
The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are
Yeah,
life.
the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. You know, the Most High is known, the Lord is as the living power. And his Bible is a living document. The words in the scriptures is a living document. Right? They are spirit and they are life. So you're not just reading some fictional book here, like people like to say, or some novel. You're reading actual living words. You know, when you get into the truth, you see it. When you first got in, man, and still now to this day, I would think about something, man, I'll tell you testimony. First week, I said, man, I don't know how to explain this to my father or a cousin, whoever I want to talk to. How do I explain this? Because I think I was going to my friend's house and I was going to talk to my mother about it. So how do I explain this? How do I talk about this? And I opened up, and I just opened it, and I opened up Exodus 3 and something. And it said, basically, the Most High was talking to Moses, and he said, I will put my words in your mouth. You know, and I will give you Aaron, that brother, to interpret your words. Because in that case, he didn't speak Hebrew. He spoke a dialect of the Egyptian language back then. So he wasn't fluent in Paleo Hebrew. But in other words, he was eloquent, you know. And, you know, I don't really consider myself eloquent. I have to practice how I speak and how I express things. So I'd say, damn, how do I teach somebody this? And open that scripture up. And I was like, wow, you know, that's just one testimony. All right, that happens all the time. When you think about something, you wonder, and then, you know, it happens. This scripture is alive. All right?
John 6 and 63. It says, it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are light.
Shalom.
Add to that, I did a study on being in coma, and I coupled it with this truth. It was kind of amazing, man. And it kind of, kind of sheds more light on how what the elect are, even before the truth. So the point is, when you have a coma, right? I believe the stat is only when you have a coma, to come out of a coma, you have to at least have 42% brain power to come out of it. Right? You can get a crash, maybe one part of your brain is just done, you know. But you have to have at least 42% brain power to come out of a coma. And then out of the 42%, only 17% out of those really come out of it, or really can escalate, you know, to high, levels. So that's like profound, man. So what am I saying is that when the elect, for us to come back to life, the men of the Lord, right? They had some kind of knowledge. You have to know some things, right? Which in the spirit, they had a certain amount of spirit in them that had life in them. There's a lot of things that we did that were righteous in the laws. We weren't perfect, but there's some morality we had.
They didn't sit right with you.
You know, there's certain, and really, you don't really change. You get better. You become more awake. You become a better person. But you find out your true self was always that kind of person. And you find out the truth of the Lord, then bring you to new heights. You know, in the spirit, as far as how to conduct, how to be. Because those elect were always searching. You know, I know I was, and I was with my brother when we were younger, man, as a kid. You know, so the Lord enhances you. But the point is that that's another part of that life state is important to kind of bring out. Not bring out, but it's relevant to the elect. You know? And this place, you know, like you're going about the 2/3, man, they're just totally dead. You know, there's no coming back from, you know, they got 90% they're brain dead. Okay? Or 90% no brain power. Like 10% wickedness. There's no way, well, I even 100%, but there's no way they're going to come back from their state. Especially rock and Muslims or bonehead Christians, like you said. They're done. They're too much in that comatose.
Only solution for 2/3 of my people is destruction.
Pull the plug.
Take the rest of them out.
Yeah. That's it.
This is Proverbs 3:1-16. It says, "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead." Right? And that represents the nation, 2/3 of the nation. Right? And that represents the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Right? It says they'll remain among the congregation of the dead. So that's where they're going to remain. There's no coming back to 2/3 of our people. Right? Because they wandered out of the way of understanding and they're not coming back. Also because it's for the time. He chose them, he allotted them that position of being part of the 2/3. So there's no coming back. So I'll read that again. It says, "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding," which true understanding is, true understanding is the laws and statutes of commandments. Right? It says, "He that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the Lord." Just like that. God we saw laid out, just like we saw laid out in the Lord. That's a perfect picture to represent 2/3 of our people. They're dead.
verse 9, it said, who have ears to hear, let him hear. And his disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mystery of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. That's why people can't receive wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because it's not all set up. This is only for the elected. This is not for the people. Even though, yes, we must hear, what's going to come down the pipeline. When it comes to repentance, it's only for the elect. You know what I'm saying? It's only for the elect to understand this truth. They're 2/3 of our people. They're the people in the kingdom. All right? On this side, it's only for the rich. Speaking to them in parables. It's like, they understood good. Just like we do today. We can say that. We're following how it's now when we're going to see 2004. It says, well, just like we did, just like these people here in James that are here now, they were in back then, they couldn't understand. They said that the old thing was so. Basically, just like people. So, it said, whatsoever have to him shall be given, he shall have more abundance. Whatsoever have not to him shall be taken away even that he had. Therefore, I speak, the difference between eyes from the parables, because they see not, and hear it, they hear not, neither do they understand. That's how people do it. Right? You can't. This is for a bit, they'll end up with, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they come in us on, he's trying to find his way around. She pulls him up. You know what I'm saying? So many examples. But the fact of the matter is that they, 2/3 of our people just can't receive it. That's how the word says. They can't see who the true living is going on. Right? They can't really see, they can't see the whole going on. They're spiritually dead. It's up to them to make you alive. If these words but blessed are your eyes for they see, and your ears for they hear.
Yeah, and the world is no different, right? You see it in this world. The mindset of the Lord, how he chooses. What's wrong with you can make a choice? How come the Most High can't make a choice? At a higher level, the Most High created the concept of choice, right? He chose his people. He chose to make the world this way. He chose to make it the way you're reading it. Right? And he chose the elect out of his own people. And he chose people within his people. Okay? You're allowed to make your choice. When you create a business, when you create a if you create a business and you're taking in applicants, right? Don't you have to ultimately make the choice on the applicants that you receive to join your business or you want to hire, right? You just don't pick anybody. You just say anybody can join, you know. Yeah, it's not gonna last because you need what's the word? You need, come on. You need to screen your applicants, man. Why apply? Just pick everybody, right? That don't work that way, man. Yeah. You know, interviews. You look at the application, look at their qualifications. You look at their work history, right? If they capable of doing what you need them to do. You know. So this is what this is. This is nothing but a hiring process. I mean, the Lord already chose his people, his elect. But another word for you to understand is that the Most High is bringing the kingdom of heaven. All right, and part of this, the first part of this now, he's setting up the governors, the leaders of the new world. All right. So those leaders are the ones that the Lord chose, but are put in the work and are qualified to lead in his kingdom. All right. They're qualified by being righteous, by following the laws, statutes, commandments, right? That the Lord's creating for them to be kings in the new world to come, in his kingdom, to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. All right? So the ones who apply, but they don't have a good work history, or they don't have qualifications of following the laws, statutes, and commandments, faith, right? Which ultimately is the faith, you're not going to be chosen. Yeah, rejected. All right? So again, you don't want to hear nothing about everybody, why is it this way? No, you make the choices, right? The Most High is going to make his choice too. And that's the ones who are qualified, ultimately through faith, to be joint heirs with Allah, man. There's many analogies to this, man. But another thing is that he gives us certain secrets unto his servants, the prophets. All right, you people are just blinded because he don't want you. Okay, and the Lord made it really difficult for you to get in this truth. I just finally saw the video of I forget his name, of a former scoffer, but now he's I forget his name, who now acknowledges that all Israelites groups are basically out of their minds and effed up, and that they're all full of shit, except GMS. What's his name? But yeah, so that, and I just saw it. It was a quick little testimony. It was good. 2 minutes. So yeah, so the Most High gave you the truth here and there, but he gave you a bunch of bugged out Israelites, man. Because most of these other Israelites, if you're not GMS, man, through this, or follow the GMS spirit, through the Yahweh Shai, right? Then, or the group, I should say. Good luck to you, man, because all these Israelite camps, they're full of shit. They're stupid as hell. They're like basically Christians. you know, in a garment, or a bunch of thugs in a garment, man. Basically, demons and liars. You know, what's that word? They're a bunch of opportunists, right? Looking for money, sellouts, looking for clicks and views, looking for debates, money and all that, you know? Looking to spread their wicked, you know, their intentions, their ways. Looking to spread their name through the name of Israel, in the name of our Lord, or the vibration of Israel. But they have their own agenda in mind, which is basically profit and fame, and being known. So, again, GMS, right? Hey, it's very hard to find the truth. And we have, basically, this truth is like a needle in a haystack, right? And on top of that, we're so, you know, supposedly the most hated group, right? Most people disagree with Rainbow Skull, right? Right, the Most High made it that way. The Most High said they'll hate you before they hate me. The opinion of the Most High, the Lord, and His prophecies and His truth is unpopular amongst the world, right? That's the way it's supposed to be, because the Most High's truth is opposite of this world, or else it wouldn't be the truth. Right? This world is totally wicked and evil, so whatever the Lord's going to bring is totally going to contradict everything in a society, as far as laws, how you know, your laws and your people and what you stand for, your ideologies. It's going to come totally contradict. They ain't supposed to sound anything similar to your ways, to what you believe in. Polite we're talking about. Basically, if you know Polite, you know what he's in jail for. The same thing he's in jail for is the same thing he accused specifically GMS members about, starting with the apostles. All right?
Break it down the scenario, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And another thing about that whole thing with I mean, look, the fashion of the world is totally different from what it was back then. So not only with younger women, but with everything, your way of life. Even eating your food. How many of you can skin a goat and then skin a sheep and eat it, man? I don't like eating fish with teeth in it. I get a little So the whole fashion of the world was different back then. Okay? If you were to find homosexual in your house or your surroundings where you live or in your neighborhood, right? You would stone them to death. If you picked up sticks and stabbed them, you'd be stoned. It's a whole different fashion, a different world back then.
It says, verse 12, it says, rejoice and be exceeding glad. Right? It says, for greatly is your reward in heaven, for so personally the day the promise of the Lord.
Right? So that's like a lesson that we get to discuss because it's all in the name of Yahweh. It's all because of the power of Yahweh.
It's like the Lord used it. It's like we know the Lord used it. It's like everything is Jesus. This is you can do before the good. Which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay or resist. That's clear. It's like Christ being full of shit. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to not jail us. And the apostle, he pays respect. You know? Right? I was like, it's gonna come to that point one way or another. You know what I'm saying? It's all like you said, the false accusations that's being said towards us, and shit like that. That's gonna come to one day. We're gonna have a confession. One way or another, that these guys have been telling the truth the whole time. You know what I'm saying? How about you want to shine? That's gonna learn. Hey, repent. Turn from your wickedness. They're looking out for you. You look about it.
This is Ezekiel 33, verse 23. It says, and this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that the prophet hath been iniquitous. Even as for me, started with our apostle, even as for now, we are who were actually waiting. When all this stuff happens,
So Daniel 12 and 10 says, and it shall be purified and made right, and tried. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. It's only for the wicked, those that will truly give them understanding right before the people. We understand about the wicked, doing wicked, why they can't get it. It's just the Lord. See, every nigga for voice in the streets. Now, she cried from the chief place of concourse in the opening of the gates and the cities he uttered for words saying, all whom these simple ones will you love simplicity. And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools say no. This is our job. This is our main occupation. To come on the highway and byway and teach our people, you know, the truth. Right? Because they're the way. Okay? You know? Right? All the scornful and scorning, man. Everything you're doing is showing that you hate the knowledge of the Lord. It shows that you truly don't fear. Well, these plagues that are being on Israel before this, no, the Lord has special purpose for them. We're here, which is, you know, Lord is speaking his name. That's me. Right? That's the Lord showing up to it. It's over.
Around the corner being different. Well, that's not that. But I don't know why. Okay.
They got to do that up, man. You know what I'm saying? Show them that. That's what we can do. For me to live for. We should be as the days of our right? They were eating, drinking, marrying, giving to marriage, until the day that the Lord took them all out. Same thing is going on. One time on the outside of the bring fire bills for the because of people in those 5 years in the city, they were coming in all type of people. They were talking about this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? This place is insane. You know what I'm saying? For real. Yeah. This is the time to get the knowledge now. You know what I'm saying? I'm with that. We get it. That's what we're going to do that. It's prophesy. Like, that's it.
My mouth will have commanded So it's like reading now is how to read anything.
And I love that word definition of the word read there. When you look up the word read, it means opinion offered worthy to be followed. Opinion offered worthy to be followed. So in essence, what is more, which should be the most thing to what? Out of all the opinions you can follow, you would want to follow the opinions of the Most High. That's his worthy opinion are basically just facts, right? Truth. That's really through the laws. The Lord's opinion is through his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. Right? That's what you do when you read it. Opinion offered, worthy to be followed. You talk to people with opinion on something, he's giving you facts. No different from the other. I love that word read because it means, and the scripture says, blessed is he who readeth. Okay? In reading, you gotta, obviously when you're reading, you gotta go back, it's not in the original state, you gotta go back to the original language, right? So when you read the scriptures, you gotta go back to the Greek, you gotta go back to the Latin, ultimately you gotta go back to the Hebrew. And that's what really means to truly read the word of the Lord. Right? Seek out in the book and read. Right? And when you read it, you have part of the definition too. It's a conversation. You have a dialogue. Reading a document. Getting educated. There's a bunch of definitions to the word read. One of them is conversation. Having a conversation with them. Following the instructions. Okay, when you read, you're following instructions. So that's a heavy word, man. You can't, again, seek out a little book of the Lord to read. And you have to have teachers to make comprehend this to which is the Father, to the Holy Father, to the Holy Spirit. Holy men.
So seek out the book of the Lord and read. None of these shall fail.
All of these instructions and scriptures, the commandments and the statutes, the laws, they're not going to fail. They're going to do you right. Right? If you follow the dietary laws, you're going to be healthy. If you follow the holy commandments, you treat your brother right in spirit, you're going to be right with the Lord in the spirit. Ultimately, if you follow these prophecies, you believe in the name of the Yahweh Shemashah, you're just going to see that next, and that's what you make. Ultimately is a prophecy, right? None of the prophecies, along with the statutes and commandments, none of these prophecies are going to fail. None shall want her mate. Meaning none of these prophecies or no book, all right, can mate with the scriptures. All right, there's no Quran coming out here saying, breaking in detail what's going to happen in the latter days. The Quran doesn't break down the stock market crashing. Right? It doesn't break down food shortages and famine. Okay? It doesn't break down a nation that's going to be known by its debt. Right? The blockchain, these other books don't break down who the wicked spirit is of the earth. The scriptures, they tell you who to look out for. Ultimately, what? The nation leader. What other book will explain the elite banking families to the team who rule in darkness? What other book references Babylon the Great? Right, which is America. You go off the date. Okay? None shall want her mate. Books talking about UFOs and spaceships that are identified in the scriptures. You may have written history about it in other societies, past society, whatever they reference it. It may be painted, it may be literature, we saw it, but they're not explaining what it is and who it's for, what is it. So much so that it describes the Lord going in a chariot and he's going to come back in a chariot. All over the scriptures. Ezra, left and actually the first chapter.
It is an right.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be. Understanding. Like, it's only up to us. Like, it's to us. Like, it's the says who the Israelites are.
It's up to them.
Yeah, it's in the source. What are they talking about? So that's why, like I said, it says, no, none shall run with me. None of you shall fail, and none shall fail. None shall
Nothing was made. We made. Nothing is mixed with the scriptures. We're made. And you read the book and all of a sudden, 5 years later, they discover the so-called stories that we never read based on the facts of whatever you read. Oh, we discovered this, now this is that.
ultimately find out that let's stick with this. Let's stick with this.
Everything you see. So like,
And if it is, you can do something about it. The spirit in the way. Like it says, nothing shall run away. Why not have faith? His spirit hath begotten. See? That's what it says. It's a spiritual connection that we have. It's in the word. Or, you know, right? To say that makes you correct that voice. If you want that special group, which is elect, chosen, you're going to connect these words in the book. Nothing is going to separate you from between you and the Most High. Word is the house. Nothing. You want to say that? He said, you trust the Lord. He said, you gave them to you. Nothing is going to separate me to them, ultimately to you.
John 17.
That's what it says. It's a spirit. Not their spirit is something else. You know? Man. This spirit is just connected to nothing. Like, so that's why I said blessing to be connected spiritually with the outside. And ultimately, you can see how the niggas can spiritually connect to weakness, or weakness, or some spiritual. Right? That's a form of spiritual power that you're able to get. Right? The Most High gives you that. Yahweh, Black Most High gives you that to be able to learn out the way, man. Spirit of the Son. Right? They got a spirit. They got a right.
Reprobate.
John 17 and 6.
This is the right. Our big brother, Yahushua. Right? Go ahead.
It says, I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou hast given me out of the world.
Right? It says,
Que ese moreno llegaba acá.
Unto the men which thou hast given me out of the world.
to the men that you gave us,
John 17,
right?
John 17 and 6. I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou givest me out of the world.
Right. That manifested thy name. Showing that the name is known that there's no way that the people that came, right? We have the transfer between we going down, people Isaac, we're not going to be moving away.
I'm sorry, I meant to say something.
Yeah, that don't make any sense.
Right. So you gotta do the thing.
It says God. It says God they were, and thou givest them me, and they have kept thy word. Now they have known all these things. It says God were they. I'm sorry, God they were, and thou givest them me, and they have kept thy word. It says now they have known all these things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee.
Right. So, yeah, everything that doing the name, understanding of the name, understanding of everything, history, right? Prophecies, right? Laws, that's significant that, laws that are beginning.
It says, now they have known that all these things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee. For I have given unto them the words which thou givest me, and they have received it, and have known it says, and have known surely that I came out from thee, and they have believed that thou didst send me. They believed that I was sent to us to comfort us. It says,
This is a manifest in St. John 17 and 6. It reads, on a Rio, show oneself, declare, to make manifest or visible or known what has been hidden or unknown.
Right? So who gets
John 17:6, I have manifested thy name unto the men, which thou givest me out of the world.
First one, there's like 5. To make manifest or visible or known what has been hidden or unknown.
So that's the name. The name has been hidden, and now it's being revealed. Because we're at the end.
It says whether by words or deeds or in any other way. Second one says make actual and visible, realize. You gotta realize it too. It says to make known by teaching. Right? You have to have, for you to be teachers, you have to have teachers again. I'm not saying about verbatim, basically the Hebrews of the chapter. For you to teach, you have to have teachers to teach you, which are the apostles of Jesus. You know, it really started from Abba Bivens to King Mashar, High Priest Saikwan, right? Elder Ariab, down to Apostle Har, Apostle Bar, Apostle Cobb, Apostle Rock. It says to become manifest, be known, it says to expose to view, make, to show oneself,
To be plainly recognized.
so, Proverbs 8:9. It is plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. So wow. So that's fine. Man. So like basically when you get this, you're not like scratching your head at this. You're not sweating, you're trying to understand it. You know when you gotta do a math problem, you just don't understand it. You need help, you need a tutor. To some extent you do need a tutor, but to understand the essence of this truth, you know, it's not a hard thing. Yeah. Yeah, you did it. You know, man.
When you show somebody something, you either see it or you don't. Remember, you show somebody something, you see it.
Yeah. To be plainly recognized. Yeah, when you show something, you plainly recognize it. So yeah. It's just thoroughly understood. Who and what one is. I think about when the Lord manifests himself in the heavens when he comes back. Everybody's gonna thoroughly understand that. All right, he's gonna manifest himself. It's gonna be like it says here, what was hidden or unknown is gonna be known. That's not a bad word. That's a good word.
Verse 8, it says, for I have given unto them the words which thou givest me. They have received them, and have known surely that I came out from thee, they have believed that thou didst send me. It says, pray for them, pray not for the world. John 17:9. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me. They are thine. It says, all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them.
Glorifying them, well, you're going to see, in that part, that's going to be, we're glorifying Him, we're glorying in His grace. But it's all said and done. Again, the Lord's going to show that you're going to expect the opposite. We're going to say the Lord, you're glorifying Him, vice versa. But not only what we're doing now, but what's to come. I am glorified in them. Yes, the Lord gives me glory out of it.
Salvation of the that's what the Lord is within Himself. Saying the Most High is glory to you.
Yeah, that's going to give the Most High glory, the Father. And ultimately, everything's going to go back to the Father. As He said it. Yeah, man, it's it. So there you go. Don't get jokes. That's it, man. When that happens, that's it. All these years, the whole world's so long without the food of the Lord. But when it's happening,
So it's like, you know,
there's no more. This is it. It's going to glorify the elect, Yahushai, and ultimately the Heavenly Father. It's going to glorify the Most High. No question on that. And even while up into that point, to say we're going to get fame, right? The men of the Lord are going to get fame. Why? Because the glory of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, is going to be on the men. And like you said, the story, when we get saved, that's going to glorify the Heavenly Father.
That I took out the world. The spirit and then in the physical.
Right. This is Solomon 5. It says, 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand before them. Such as like when you come to his lips. It says, when they see, they shall be shown.
sorry, I thought you were. There you are.
Yeah, yeah. They gonna keep it going out. Next week, the foreigners get to the too. Jake's will be elected like the other Jake's. Fuck they have it too. Because they're famous.
Right.
This whole state we continue. And they repented and growing for evils and spirits and sin within themselves. This was equal, but sometimes with ignorance. It says in the proverb approach, fools accounted his life for meanness. So this ends to be unlike fools. We start to God knew about we're the ones that are getting delivered this hell, this destruction, and your ass is still there.
Bye bye. Bye.
Right? And then it goes on and says, so I will see nothing in mind. This is things that no. Because most times when you put that understanding, it says, I will see nothing among the children of the Most High. And his lot is among the saints. You know what? These are actually chosen. They don't even understand all the breakdowns. They don't even know the chosen. Daniel 7. This is the Daniel chapter. Right? Right? And then, see, the Most High, see, because the Most High is going to want everybody to know what's going on. Everybody with. And it's going to be the same time that the elect are going to be delivered.
The same damn. The same thing.
Right? It says, I was seeing nothing of the children of the Most High but to be among the saints. Therefore, we learn from the way of truth and the light of righteousness, not timeless us, and the self-righteousness rose not upon us. We buried ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction, yea, we have gone through deserts, where they lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. So, this is the way we're going to know that they don't fuck up. And their way was bad, the way of truth was the way we're doing it right now. So, this will bring it back to that.
Allah, Power, Bashim, Shai, Bashim, Kwakadash.
Everybody saw that.